So one of the significant components that we're dealing with right now is a huge amount of undergrowth as well as overgrowth and grasslands, which has come up during the rainy season after 1920. It's obviously made a lot of areas a lot more dense than before, and so one of the reasons why we're doing strategic hazard reductions is to reduce the fuel loading and to mitigate the impact and severity of fires if and when they do come into a particular area.
The other side of things, there's three other fauna-related things. This burn that we're looking at today is around about 360 hectares in size. Have a look at you again will be led by there are other properties, as I said before. There's transmission wires that.
So what we're doing now is we're setting up our hose lines so that when we do the light up, the properties are protected and safe, and we've got water to keep us out of trouble if we need it. There we go. You ready?
Yeah, that's going to go out.
I don't think anybody came out of that season the same as when they went in, and I think that's important to consider, is that firefighters, we deal with a lot, but at the same time we need to stand together and look after each other. Just having a yarn with your mates at the shed is a really important part of looking after yourself, but also knowing and finding that professional help when you need to.
I think I will walk further away, but I'm walking towards the camera.
Australia is a very special place. I think volunteerism in Australia is intrinsically linked to our national identity, and I know that with the RFS it's over 120 years old. It's one of those agencies that people do because their families are involved, their communities are involved. It's something that they've always done. For me, I grew up with it, and I grew up in a bushland area, and for me it was absolutely something I needed to do.
We're quite behind on hazard reduction just simply because we had 3 wet years since the end of those 2019-20 fires. We just had just rain after rain after rain events, so we're quite behind. So for last year, for example, we only did 24% of the preparation work we wanted to do for hazard reduction, so considerably behind. We don't see, and I certainly don't see that it'll be like 1920, because we're not on the back of a 4-year drought, which is where we were then. But it's a different risk, and it's certainly the most significant risk that we've faced since 1920, and we're taking it very seriously, because whilst it may not be as bad as that, you don't need a fire season to be as bad as that for it to destroy homes and indeed take lives. So we're taking it very, very seriously.
Not yet, but it's hopefully ready to go somewhere.
The Bureau is today declaring that an El Niño event is underway in the Pacific Ocean. At the same time, we are declaring that a positive Indian Ocean dipole, or positive IOD event, is occurring in the oceans to our west. Both these climate drivers have a significant influence on the Australian climate, in particular favouring warmer and drier conditions, particularly over spring, but also into early summer. Those conditions are associated or accompanied by an increase in fire danger and extreme heat risk. I think El Nino means that we've elevated the risk of fire danger and extreme heat in particular in terms of the hazards that we face. As I mentioned earlier, we aren't leading into this summer on the back of extended drought, which somewhat reduces the risk, but we have seen eastern New South Wales dry out quite particularly, and I think there's 61 fires burning in the landscape in New South Wales at the moment. So that just underscores, if we continue to dry out the landscape over the next 3 months, and the Bureau will be watching that really closely, then we'll be adjusting our message accordingly in terms of the risk. Importantly for our preparation for summer, particularly for fire danger and heat hazards, we are already seeing extreme conditions in some parts of the continent, particularly in the duration of heat. So we've had an extended period of warm and dry weather to start spring. Today we've had catastrophic fire conditions on the south coast of New South Wales, just to underscore that risk.
Did carpentry. Now he's running the family farm, but he still does a few inspections and
it is drying out more rapidly than has occurred in recent years, and we are seeing that elevated risk now occurring in eastern New South Wales in particular, and Sydney equalling its record so far today for temperatures for September.
So what's quite unusual about this heat at this time is the prolonged nature of it. We do often see a couple of hot days starting to come through during September, but the fact that we've seen so many hot days in a row hanging around for 7-8 days across New South Wales and Victoria is quite unusual.
When they tell us that the fire danger rating exceeds agreed limits, in this case extreme or above, then we take the proactive measure not to jeopardise the safety of our school community